All right, let's dive into a really wild story for you today. It's one of those tales where a flashy, over-the-top lawyer's TV commercials slam right into the world of high-tech cybercrime. Seriously, it's a heck of a cautionary tale about erasing your past from the internet and how far is too far.
Okay, so to really get what's going on here, you've got to meet the main character. And honestly, this slogan from his TV commercials, it pretty much tells you everything you need to know about his whole vibe.
So who is this guy? Meet Bradley Pistotnik, a personal injury attorney from Kansas. And when I say his local ads were famous, I mean they were legendary. We're talking about him literally riding a bull, a very, very calm bull, mind you, and spitting out these folksy, Western-themed lines like, "Hog tie, the greedy insurance company." You just can't make this stuff up.
Right, so you have this super confident bull riding persona on TV, but behind the scenes, it was a totally different story. Pistronik was wrestling with a classic modern-day problem. There was some negative stuff about him online. And for him, this wasn't just, a small annoyance. No, it became a total obsession. He had to get it taken down. So what was this stuff that he was so desperate to scrub from the internet? Well, it really came down to three specific things. First up, there was a negative review on ripoffreport.com. Then there was a disciplinary opinion from the Kansas Supreme Court about him, which was up on a site called legal.com. And finally, get this, he was even targeting the website of Jawberg Wilk. That's the law firm that was representing Ripoff Report. So he was going after everyone. Now, to fix this digital headache, Pistotnik didn't call another lawyer. Nope, he went a different route. He looked for a tech expert who specialized in something called reputation management. And this is where the second major player in our drama makes his entrance.
And you've got to picture this pair, because they were a total odd couple. I mean, on one hand, you've got Bradley, the bull, Pistotnik, the guy famous for his local TV commercials. And on the other, you have David Dorsett, a software engineer, a guy who speaks in complex code, offering this, let's call it a unique solution to the lawyer's online problem.
And let's be clear, David Dorsett wasn't some kid hacking away in a basement. This guy's resume was seriously impressive. We're talking a senior full-stack developer, a member of Mensa, and an award winner for his web design. He'd worked at huge companies like Raytheon. So yeah, this was a top-tier, highly skilled professional. Okay, so let's recap. We've got the lawyer with a major image problem and the tech genius who says he has the solution. But what exactly did reputation management mean in this case? Well, this is the moment in the story where things go from just ethically murky right into the deep end of federal crime. When the indictment first dropped, a lot of people were skeptical. Pistotnik's own lawyer basically said the whole thing was nonsense. Legal blogs started asking, wait, was this really a cyber attack? I mean, was it just a couple of angry emails, or was it something more? Well, the plea agreements that came later, they laid out all the details, crystal clear. So here's what the plea agreement says went down. Dorsett's strategy was something prosecutors called an email barrage. He basically just flooded the servers of these websites with a ton of messages. And the demand inside was super simple, super direct, remove this page, and we stop. But it didn't stop there. Oh no. The threats got way more serious. The messages kept coming, but now with a chilling new line. If you don't remove it, we will begin targeting your advertisers. And that, right there, is what crossed the line. See, they weren't just bugging the websites anymore. They were threatening their very ability to do business. That's textbook extortion. The plea agreement laid out this timeline that was just incredibly fast and incredibly clear. This all happened in September 2014. First, Pistotnik hires Dorsett. Almost immediately, Dorsett unleashes the email barrage. And what happens next? The negative info gets yanked from Ripoff Report. And on the very same day that happens, Dorsett invoices Pistotnik, and Pistotnik pays him right away. For prosecutors, that tight timeline screamed conspiracy. So remember how at first they denied everything, saying it was all just bull? Well, the evidence that came out in the plea agreements was pretty much overwhelming. In the end, both men had to plead guilty and face some very real, very serious consequences for what they did online. Now, both of them admitted what they did, but they pleaded guilty to different things. The lawyer, Brad Pistotnik, he pleaded guilty to 3 misdemeanor counts of being an accessory after the fact. But the developer, David Dorsett, he pleaded guilty to the main charge, 2 felony counts of making extortionate threats over the internet. A big difference. So what did all this cost the guy who kicked the whole thing off? Well, the court came down hard with some really severe financial penalties.
First up, a huge federal fine. We're talking $375,000.
And that's not all. On top of that, he had to pay $55,200 in restitution. That money went directly to the victims, the websites he targeted.
So when you add it all up, that's a grand total of over $430,000. And the court didn't want it in installments. They wanted that whole chunk of change paid immediately.
You know, this whole crazy story, from the bull riding lawyer on TV to the secret email barrages, it really is a powerful cautionary tale for our digital world. And it leaves us wrestling with a really tough question, one that's more important now than ever. Where does legitimate reputation management stop and illegal extortion begin?